on number 25 continued of our magazine spread, and the next thing we're going to work on is the body type. So the first thing that you need to do is find some type. So what I would suggest doing is going to Google and searching a person that is similar to the person that you're portraying in your portrait. For example, if I was portraying a famous artist, then I would Google a different artist interview online. And I did that, and Loretta Lex is one of my favorite artists, and I found a nice little article about her on the Guggenheim website. So this big paragraph here, I'm going to copy, edit, copy. I'm going to go back to InDesign, Command V to paste. I'm going to select it all, Command A. Then I'm going to go up to Edit, Find Change. And anywhere that it says Lux, which is her last name, I'm going to have them change it to Duker. Change all. 10 replacements were made. Done. Now Loretta. Edit. Find change. Anywhere where it says Loretta, I want them to change it to Ella. Change all. 1 replacement was made. Done. Command A again. I want you to make sure you have a nice type picked out. I want a sans serif since it's body type. Somewhere between 10 and 11. I chose 11 and I chose 16 over here for my leading. You can do light, book, depending on the typeface, but nothing more bold than that. I went with light. Now I'm going to click and I'm going to move my type over. The reason I'm doing that is because if you look at this first line here, there's way too many words. A basic rule for design is that you want about 8 or 9 words a line. Otherwise, it's too hard to read. People start to lose their spots and it gets confusing. So I'm going to grab the type and I'm going to make 2 columns. I'm going to bring this in here. When I hit this pink line or purple, it tells you that you're at the halfway point. I want to go in more than that, just a little bit, so I have a nice little gutter in between the 2 body type paragraphs. So right about here looks good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this type here, hit this anchor point, this red little box down here, and draw another square. I want to make sure. Okay, so what that does is it just continues to type over here. I can see now that it's a little bit long. I want it to be a little bit shorter. Since these are not real articles, we can edit them and no one will really know. So I'm going to get rid of that paragraph. And that's looking better to me. And then I want the type to end on the purple pink line here. And I want them obviously to be both lined up. Okay, now that I'm looking at it, I want a little bit more space in between these. So I'm going to move this over a little bit and same here. And that looks better to me. The other thing that I want that the article was lacking online is there's no paragraph breaks. There's a couple ways you can do that. I'm going to press Shift Return and I'm going to press Shift Return again. Some people indent like this. I am not a fan. I don't think it looks good. I think it looks messy. I just like a nice space in between my paragraphs. So I'm going to go back up here with my mouse, make sure this is filled in, and then I'm going to change that leading to about 12 because the space was almost too big for me. Okay. And then I'm going to move this up to the pink line, and that's going to bring the rest over. And again, I'm going to need a paragraph break over here too. So I need to just kind of read it and find a good spot to do that. So right here might be a good spot. Shift Return, Shift Return again. I made this 12, so I'm going to make a 12 over here too. All right, now we got too much type again. So what I'm going to do is probably just get rid of this stuff. All right. Now we have some other issues that we need to work on. You want to avoid hyphens. You don't want to do that. You want to avoid it as much as possible. You also want the words to be lined up pretty good. If you look here, these first 4 sentences, they're lined up pretty good. But then the word painter goes over more than the other words, and that just kind of looks messy. So there's a few things you can do. One thing you can do is select this sentence, go up here, and do, in the kerning, -10. I don't ever suggest going over -10 or +10. Now what I can do is shift return, and I'm just trying to make this type look nice and neat as well as I can. Okay. Since this isn't a real article, sometimes you can edit the type a little bit, just because the end resolution is that this is going to be in your portfolio and the type is going to look really neat and perfect. No one's really going to be reading the article as much as looking at it. So again, here I think it's looking pretty good until we get to the word children. So what I might do is just change this to kids, hard return, and that looks better. Okay, then we're looking good here. There's a break here that I don't like. So I'm going to see if I can do a -10 and see how that looks. It's not really working for me. So I'm going to just change it a little bit. Okay. And then that looks pretty good. We got a hyphen here that isn't great, so probably get rid of that word and it will still make sense. All right. So then this all looks pretty good to me. This looks a little out of place compared to this sentence and this sentence, so I might make it a +10. I'm just going to put here so that lines up better. And then we are looking pretty good. Okay. In a perfect world, there would be some more text here, so I might go back to the article and see if I can find something like this. And you know, you can just kind of make it up. Duker lives and works in St. Louis, Missouri. She is happy to answer any questions. You know, just whatever would kind of fit. Okay, so now we got 2 nice little paragraphs lined up. I don't want you to get caught up in the text and what it says. I want you to be more focused on how it looks. This looks like it could be spread out a little bit, so I'm going to do a +10. All right, now let's zoom out, and we got a beautiful little magazine spread here. I might play with this, bring this up a little bit, see how that works. Another thing I could do is go into Illustrator and make a flower and maybe put a flower here to match her dress. The other thing you might want to think about is if you want to bring the type up a little bit and then make a page number. If you press this button here, it will close your text box for you, and that just helps you stay more organized. Okay. And then if I had time, I would make a flower in Illustrator, but I'm just going to show you guys real fast how that might look. I don't want you to grab one off the internet. This is just for time, just for me to show you. Okay, so I might do that. And then file, place. Let's say this is your flower that you made in Illustrator. Maybe you could do something like that. If you want to add a little bit to the text side, that's fine. That might look nice. And then there you go, that's the end.